إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أعاذنا الله منها ومن عذابها. My dear brothers and sisters, from the specific characteristic of the Quran, the book of Allah Ta'ala, that we as Muslims, we believe in is a revelation. From the things that are often mentioned in the Quran are stories. Stories of the Prophets, alayhi salam, stories of people that came before us. Musa alayhi salatu salam, we have his story. Yusuf alayhi salatu salam, we have his story also. We have some of the seerah in the Quran also that's mentioned, the story of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his life, some of the incidents that happened. One of the reasons why Allah Ta'ala mentions and tells us about this story is for us to ponder over. It's not just to listen to it or to hear it or to read it to our children before they go to bed, for example. No. We as Muslims are meant to take advantage, take benefits, lessons from those stories in the Quran and apply them to our lives, to our situations, to the things that we find ourselves in. From those important stories that Allah Ta'ala mentions in the Quran in His book is the story of the people of the trenches. He says subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Buruj, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والسماء ذات البروج واليوم الموعود وشاهد ومشهود. And I want you to pause here for a second. Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Quran, every single time you hear Him swearing about something, testifying something to something, you have to pay attention. Of course, you have to pay attention to the whole of the Quran. But when Allah Azza wa Jalla starts a surah with wa, wal asr, wal shamsi wa duhaha, wal layli idha yaghsha, like in our surah right now, was sama'i dhati al-buruj, by the sky. وَالْيَوْمِ الْمَوْعُودِ, by the promised day. Some of the scholars said that the promised day is Yawm Arafah. وَشَاهِدٍ وَمَشْهُودٍ, that which is witnessed and that which is going to be witnessed. Allah Azza wa Jalla takes an oath with these three things. And only Allah Azza wa Jalla is able and is allowed to swear by His creations. As for us, the human beings, the Muslims, we should only swear by Allah Azza wa Jalla. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith, "Man kana halifan falyahmid billah aw liyasmut." If you're going to swear, swear only by Allah or keep quiet. So when Allah Azza wa Jalla takes an oath with His creation, we know that's important. You know there's something that is meant to come that should take our attention. He says, "Qutila ashab al-ukhdud." The people of the trenches have been massacred, they've been killed. "An-nar dhat al-waqud," by a fire, blazing fire. إِذْ هُمْ عَلَيْهَا قُعُودٌ وَهُمْ عَلَى مَا يَفْعَلُونَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ شُهُودٌ. When the people, the killers, the oppressors, the terrorists, they were sitting down looking at believers being killed. وَهُمْ عَلَى مَا يَفْعَلُونَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ شُهُودٌ, and they were testifying to this, happy. وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَنْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. And the only reason why the oppressors, the killers, the mushrikeen, they were killing those Muslims, those believers, is because these people testify that none has the right to worship except Allah. They believed in Allah. وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَنْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض والله على كل شيء شهيد. Allah, the one who the heavens and the earth belong to, and Allah Azza wa Jalla is indeed a witness on any and everything. Read these verses. Billah alaykum. Think about these verses and think about what is happening today in 2023. What's happening to the people in Palestine. Don't you think it's the same thing? Is there any difference? It's exactly the same thing. SubhanAllah, one of the things that made me even sure about this is once I saw a video of Israelis actually sitting down and looking at missiles being sent and thrown on Palestine. Wallahi, I was shocked. Actually taking chairs with their juices, sipping, and looking at what's happening. And wallahi, when you read this surah, it's the exact same discussion, the exact same situation. The Prophet ﷺ, in explaining this surah, giving us more details about this story, he says in the hadith that was narrated and mentioned by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad by the companion Suhaib al-Rumi, rahimahullah, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said that there was a people from the nations that came before us. These people, they had a magician, and the magician was old, he was getting old, and he requested from the king to give him a boy for him to teach him magic, for him to be the next magician of the country. The king gave him that boy. Alhamdulillah, the boy found or came across a monk, a believer in Allah. He met the monk and he started learning from the monk. He started learning Tawheed and believing in Allah and worship Allah alone. To the extent that when he would go back to his family, they were punishing him. Why are you late home? Where were you? He would go back to his teacher, the magician. He would get there late as well. They would punish him. So he asked the monk, what am I supposed to tell them? How am I supposed to get out of this situation? The monk told him, when you go to your family, tell them that the magician, your teacher, the magician, made you late. And when you go to the magician, tell them that you had work at home. That's why you're late for the class. So he continued like this up until one day, one of the ministers of the country came, and he was blind. This boy cured him, and the man, subhanAllah, he believed. He became a Muslim. When he went back to the castle, the king saw him and he said, "Where? You used to be blind, what happened to you?" He said, my Lord cured me. The king asked him, do you have a Lord other than me? Just as Fir'aun did as well. Do you have a Lord other than me? He said, yes. The creator of the heavens and the earth. He is the Lord. And he punished him, he punished that minister until the minister said, yeah, I actually learned it from this boy. And they got the boy and they got the monk as well. And punished them. They eventually killed the monk, they killed the minister, but the boy couldn't die. The king tried 3-4 times to kill him, but it wasn't happening. He told his soldiers to throw him from a cliff, and the cliff, shook, and then those soldiers passed away, they died. They took him in the middle of the sea. And again, Allah Azza wa Jalla saved the boy, always coming back. So the king asked him, how am I supposed to kill you? How can you die? He said, the only way you can kill me is if you tie me to a tree, you take an arrow, and before you shoot, you say, Bismillah wa Rabbil Ghulam. By the name of Allah, the Lord of the boy. If you do that, you're going to kill me. But on the condition that I want everybody of the land to witness it. Everybody from the land, right? They have to be there as well. So the king did so. And he shot the arrow, and he said, Bismillah, and the boy passed away. You know what happened? All of the people of the land believed. Just as you see in the news, many people thinking about Islam. What is this Islam? How are these Palestinians being destroyed and killed, murdered, and they still say Alhamdulillah? They praise Allah and they don't despair. They put their hope in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And you have non-Muslims being amazed. What's happening? Who are these people? And wallahi, you have people that are becoming Muslims. You have people that are becoming Muslim from this whole situation. So now the king he's fooled. There are people that are becoming Muslim now. Islam is spreading. The message of Islam is spreading. So he decided to eradicate and kill everybody. Kill everybody. From the people that he started killing was a woman that had a baby, and she was hesitant. When they dug trenches to throw these people inside and kill them, this woman was hesitant. What is she going to do? She has a baby. She's fearful for her child. The child said to her, "My mother, don't despair. Jump on the fire. Let's die. For indeed we are on the truth. We are on the truth. We are the people of Jannah." And this is what the Muslim is meant to have in terms of his mindset. We are on the truth. We're not allowed as Muslims to feel defeated, to act weak, to feel as though the enemies they took over us. Nah. We're meant to have hope in Allah Azza wa Jalla. We're meant to have izzah. We're supposed to know that yes, we are the people of Jannah. We are the chosen people, not them. They're the ones that claim to be the chosen people. Wallahi, they're not the chosen people. We're the chosen people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the attitude of the Muslim. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he was in Mecca, as you know, he was harmed. His companions were killed. They were tortured. Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Sumayya, as you know. Ammar ibn Yasir, and so on and so forth. The companion by the name of Khabbab ibn al-Arad came to the Prophet and said, "Ya Rasulullah, ألا تدعو لنا?" O Messenger of Allah, are you not going to make dua for us? ألا تستنصر لنا? Are you not going to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to save us from this? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam looked at him with an angry face. And you might ask yourself, why? Doesn't he have the right to ask Allah to make dua for him? Doesn't he have the right to ask Allah to save them? Of course he does. But the Prophet said to him, وَلَكِنَّكُمْ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. You are a hasty people. You want things to turn and Allah to save you right away. And if you make dua and it's not working, at this point in time you feel defeated. Prophet said to Khabbab ibn al-Arad that there was a people before us, before them the Sahaba, and also us of course. A man would be brought in broad daylight, and he would be cut and sliced into two, from head to toe. Another man would be brought, and an iron can would be put on his skin and scratched up until you can see his bone even. But that would not turn him away from his religion. The Prophet said in the hadith, "Udhitu fillah wa la yu'da ahad." He says, I was harmed in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal, and no other harm, no other person can be harmed the way I did. Wallahi, what the Palestinians are going through is nothing compared to what the Prophet ﷺ went through. I'll be honest with you. It's nothing compared to what the Sahaba went through. They went through even worse. But they were firm in their religion. They stayed steadfast. And I know, you might be asking yourself, why are we talking about this? We're not the Palestinians, we're not over there. Why is this khutbah not for them? But the point is, we have to have that as well. Alhamdulillah, we're in the UK. We're safe. Our properties, our kids are safe. We have hospitals that we can go to. But unfortunately, I don't know why Muslims they feel defeated. What are you feeling defeated for? Why do you feel like the kuffar are taking over us? Wallahi, they're not taking over us. Just go on social media and you can clearly see the narrative is changing. The 21st century is not like back in the days. Social media is actually a tool that people can use to put the word out there. And even non-Muslims are opening their eyes. They're realizing that this is terrorism. This is oppression. This is oppression from very ungrateful people. Do you know how the Jewish Zionists they landed in Palestine? Have you read that story before? You know how they did so? Wallahi, they came skinny, barefooted, naked, and the people of Islam took them in, helped them out. But what can you do? The Jewish, they have a history of treachery. If you look at all of the ghazawat that the Prophet ﷺ did when he was alive, you can see it's always because the Jewish were treacherous. They always didn't respect the past, all of the time. Does that mean we want to keep every Jewish as they claim? It's not the case. We are against oppression from whoever he's from. There's some Jewish people that are good people. Even Allah Azza wa Jalla testified to that. From the people of the book, there's people that are qa'imin. If you give them something to hide, or if you give them if you give them something to keep for you, they're going to do so. They're righteous people, they're good people. But we're against Zionism though. We're against oppression. We're against killing innocent people. And subhanAllah, look at the beauty of Islam. In Islam, it's haram for you. It's not permissible for you when you're with the enemy, fighting the enemy. You're not allowed to kill people that are not involved in the war. Forget even human beings. You're not even allowed to harm trees and animals. This is Islam. This is our deen. This is our deen. We're not allowed to do so. Didn't you see how Hamas took care of those women? They didn't harm them. Even those women, Jewish, they're saying, Wallah, they didn't harm us. They took care of us, no problem. But look how they're doing. Look what they're doing to women, innocent women. Babies, subhanAllah wa bihamdihi. Allah musta'an. Infant babies that have nothing to, how can you be so heartless? How? The message from this member, Khwani, is to have sabr. To have hope in Allah Azza wa Jal. To have hope in His promise. He says subhanahu wa ta'ala, concerning us, the believers, to give us hope. وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم وليمكنن لهم دينهم الذي ارتضى لهم وليبدلن لهم من بعد خوفهم أمنا يعبدونني لا يشركون بي شيئا. Allah Azza wa Jal, who never ever goes against His promise. He says, وَعَدَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ. Allah gave a promise to those of us who believe. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and He writes good deeds. لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. He's going to give them the dominion, the power, the superiority in the earth. The same way He did with those who came before them. And He's going to change their fear to security, to amen. But the condition is what? يَعْبُدُونَنِي لَا يُشْرِكُونَ بِي شَيْئًا. That they worship me alone and they don't do any shirk, they don't give me any partners. This is the most important quote-unquote weapon that we have as Muslims. Worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, keeping our duties to Him. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله على إحسانه والشكر له على توفيقه وامتنانه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الداعي إلى رضوانه أما بعد. As I said to you, the attitude that the believer should have is have patience and hope in the reward of Allah Azza wa Jal and put his trust in Him. Allah Azza wa Jal, He promised us that we're going to be tested and tried. He says subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, وَلَنَبُلْوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla told us, as Muslims, believers, we're going to be tested. Our tests are different. Some people have greater tests than others. We're tested with lust of life, tested with lust of food. We're going to have trials. And He says, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, give glad tidings to those who are patient. Those who, when a musibah touches them, falls over them, they say, إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. We belong to Allah, and to Him we're going to return. Those are the people who have sidq, who are truthful in their iman. And they are the ones who are going to have al-falah, success. They're going to be the successful ones. What can we do as Muslims to aid our brothers and sisters in Palestine? What can we do? Are we supposed to protest on the street? Is it by wearing a hoodie that says Free Palestine? What are we meant to do? Is it by going online and arguing with people? Is it by posting videos? What are we supposed to do? The first thing, and one of the most important things that we should do, is make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is our greatest weapon. Again, the Prophet ﷺ, he said in the hadith concerning dua, that it is the core and the essence of ibadah. Dua, making dua to Allah Azza wa Jal, is our greatest weapon that we have. The greatest thing that we can fight with. Because even if all of the Muslims come together with everything they have, if Allah Azza wa Jal did not write success to them to win the war, and then to take over Palestine and so on and so forth, they're not going to be able to do so. We can only make that, we can only achieve that with dua from Allah, with the help of Allah Azza wa Jal. So are we making dua for our brothers and sisters? When you're making sujood, do you make dua? Actually, by Allah, do you make dua in sujood every time you go in sujood for Palestine, for the brothers over there? Do you need that at the last hour of the night? Seriously, this is a serious question. And don't be from those who are going to say, nah, just dua. We talk about dua. No, dua is the greatest thing that we can do. From the things that we can do to help the brothers and sisters in Palestine is to bring attention. Talk to your kids about the story of Palestine. Educate yourself about why. Tell them that the Prophet ﷺ, that used to be the Qibla. Tell them that the Isra, the Miraj was there. Tell them about these things. How are they going to love the Palestinians, love the cause, and love for the Muslims what they will love for themselves if they don't even know about that? Many people are not educated or aware of what's going on. And sometimes we can criticize social media and kids being on the phone and things, but this is what's happening. This is what's happening. The third thing that we should do for our brothers over there is to send them our help. Aid them financially. There's many organizations, many charities that provide help for the Palestinians and for the people over there. So give them your money. Give them your charity as well. Of course, it's not easy for you to take your money that you earn, 7 hours shift, 12-hour shift, to give it over there, but wallahi, you should do it. That's the least you can do. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد الواحد. The example of the Muslims, the believers, in their mutual affection, in the way they deal with each other, in the easiness that they have with each other, is like it's the example of one body. If one part of the body is ill, doesn't feel well, is hurt, it should affect the rest of the body, all of the rest. You cannot be a true Muslim, you cannot be a true believer if what's happening to the Muslims in Palestine and all around the world, from oppression and so on and so forth, does not affect you. If you sleep well at night and it's not your problem, you don't even care, then there's a problem with your iman. There's a problem with your iman. There's no other way to say it. You should feel affected. Am I saying, let's go and march to the city center, or let's put bombs on ourselves? That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying as Muslims, you have to be affected. You have to be affected. It has to hurt you. You're meant to count the days. SubhanAllah, what's happening? Make dua for them. It needs to be in your mind all the time. Yes, of course, we have our families, we have work, we have this and we have that, but it should affect us. And if it doesn't affect you as a Muslims, then we have a problem, a big problem. Where is our brotherhood then? This is the time where we're not supposed to look at they're Palestinians and we're Africans. They're Palestinians, we're Arabs. They're Palestinians, we're not from their country. It's their problem. They can deal with it. Why did they even do that? Nah. This is the time for the Muslims to unite as one, because now is the battle between Iman and Kufr. That's the real battle right now. Here we do have differences. There's some people that do innovations, some people that are misguided in Islam and so on and so forth. But right now it's not the time for that. Right now is the time to help the Muslims, to make dua for them. That's Allah Azza wa Jal to preserve our brothers and sisters in Palestine. That's Allah Ta'ala to make it easy for them. That's Allah Azza wa Jal to deal with their enemies and the enemies of the Muslims. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وأقم الصلاة رحمكم الله.